Welcome to another episode of All Four Downs podcast. I'm your host, Ovi One, and this is a special episode because not only is week 11 of the college football, but it's also the first college football playoff rankings that was announced earlier today, and my reactions, how is it going to be developed, and what could possibly happen later on, who's on the upset, and of course, on our ticker, we have the updated top 25 from the College Football Committee. Let's get started real quick because plenty of to talk about. But then again, I'm not going to overreact because this is the initial official college football rankings. So let's get to it, shall we? I'm gonna start from the bottom, work 13 to 25. But of course, we'll work our way up and see everything else. And I want to go in detail what the committee um listed, and we'll start off with number 25, Tennessee. I'm a little bit confused with Tennessee being in the top 25. I mean, this team is 3-3 in the conference, 63 overall. And right now, they're not even in contentions, not even close to be involved in the SEC championship, let alone trying to get close to even flirt around it. I mean, with those three losses and with, you know, 3 games remaining, you're pretty much out of it. There's has to be a lot. And for the remaining schedule for Tennessee, it doesn't even look promising right now. Okay. I would have picked other teams to be involved there, such as maybe San Diego State or maybe Cincinnati, SMU to be in number 25. I'm just saying there were other better teams out there than just Tennessee. But I get it because we got to build resumes for the other teams that are ranked higher. Okay. But that's all right. Number 24, Pittsburgh. Their remaining games is going to be fantastic because they play 3 ranked teams right now: Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami. So it's going to be big. It is going to be interesting to see how well Pittsburgh could finish their remaining 3 games there. Washington was a big surprise for me. Um, they lost to Ohio State 24-6. They lost to Michigan 24-7. And beating Illinois to me is not a factor. Illinois is not even in the top 25. They were ranked, but then they disappeared. So I'm also surprised that Washington is ranked in the top 25. Number 22, Missouri. They need a win to prove that they belong in the top 25. I would not place them in the top 25. Matter of fact, I don't. But they can make a lot of noise this weekend, and I'll tell you as I do predict this week's games. Michigan, what can I tell you? 5-1 right now in the Big Ten. They could play spoiler alert. If they could win out the next couple of games and then go head on with Ohio State, they could actually not only upset Ohio State, but imagine them beating Ohio State, clinching their way to the Big Ten Conference championship against Indiana. And then how will Ohio State fall? I mean, if you don't know already, Ohio State is ranked number 1. But if you put them out of the equation and they're not even playing in the Big Ten Conference, they shouldn't even be in the top 5. Just saying. But I know that the community does weird things, right? But I'm just saying, I think that should happen, right? I'm just saying. Um, I'm not guaranteeing it's going to happen, but it could be a possibility. Iowa is another one that's won 3 straight games. Their next 2 opponents, Oregon and USC. Those are the 2 ranked opponents they got left to play in their schedule. USC, on the other hand, 4-1 in the Big Ten. They did beat Michigan 31-13, but that's probably the only noise that they've made. They lost to Illinois, which is not in the top 25, and they lost to Notre Dame, but this is the route where Notre Dame has a winning streak, right? So Iowa and Oregon will be playing each other. So regardless of that, I think I skipped here real quick. Hold on for a second. Yeah, USC Did lose to Illinois, lose to Notre Dame, and yet they're ranked number 19. I don't feel like I think they're overrated, to be honest with you. I really do. And it's going to show in the next few weeks. Let's move up to Miami. Miami lost 2 of the last 3 games. Um, I don't know what's up with Miami. I don't know why we get to this point and they start choking. I don't understand. They were looking so solid. Then after the bye week, it's just like they disappeared. Crazy. Crazy how that went. Um, it's kind of feeling like it's impossible for Miami to turn things around. We're late in the game to try to get in there. All right. But I mean, ranking 18, all right, that's good, right? For them for now. I think I really had thought that they were gonna do something this year. I really did. Georgia Tech did a little oopsie, losing to NC State 48-36. But the final 2 games will definitely be, I will say this, I'm gonna keep close eye on it because Georgia Tech still is a great team. Okay. They play Pittsburgh. They can knock out Pittsburgh, knock them out of the top 25, but they do have a rivalry game versus Georgia. Ah, that's gonna be big. Vanderbilt, um, Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee are the only 3 remaining teams left in their schedule. So it's very difficult for them to even reach to the top. Who else? Louisville. They play California, Clemson, and SMU, and then finish off with their rivalry against Kentucky. Virginia. I think they got the easiest schedule. I do predict they will clinch the ACC spot for the championship. And I am predicting that they will play against Georgia Tech for the ACC title. Utah. Man, I was liking Utah. I don't think that they'll make it, but if they do, watch out for them because they're getting hot at the right time. Yes, they lost to Texas Tech and BYU, and the remaining schedules Baylor, Kansas State, and Kansas. So the only way they could really move up is for the teams on top just beat each other down, and Utah will squeeze their way in. Pretty interesting. But I am disappointed just a little bit, not too much, about San Diego State and Cincinnati not making it to the top 25. But they are well deserved. Let's go ahead and move on to the upper rankings here. I have mine listed 1 through 12. I do have Virginia at number 12, but more to this. Right now, in order, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama are the top 4 teams in the college football rankings, and it's well deserved. It really is. It matches what I have. Georgia, number 5, I have that. I know number 6, Ole Miss. That's what the college football committee has. But my 6 is BYU. But I do have Ole Miss in there. I do have Texas Tech, Notre Dame, well deserved. Um, Texas, they're outside looking in for the college football committee. Um, I have them in there. I actually had Oregon out of the playoffs momentarily because I had to squeeze in Memphis in there. As you can see, Memphis is the 5th conference champion. Well, predicting to be the 5th best conference and being the conference champion in the American Conference will have them be seated at number 12. So there you have it right there. Um, but again, I am surprised that Oklahoma is at number 12 because the fact that they're 3-2 in the SEC, but they lost to Texas 23-6. I believe that that game itself was very hurtful. They did lose to Ole Miss, and the remaining schedule. Look, if they're going to turn things around, they have to win the next 3 games because Oklahoma plays Alabama, Missouri, depending on the outcome of Missouri this weekend, and then they finish with LSU. Those are still the tough 3 games in the remaining of their schedule. Texas at 11, they got a bye week. And then, I mean, they got a bye week while Georgia's playing Mississippi State. And then they go on the road to Georgia. Then they got to play Arkansas. and finished their season against the Texas A&M Aggies. But if you look at the rest of their stuff, I mean, they lost to Ohio State, lost to Florida, and this past weekend they did beat Vanderbilt 34-31. So there's a lot going on for Texas right now. Is this the moment that we should have seen in week 1 for the Longhorns? Or is this just a speed bump to talk about them and then they fall out? Notre Dame is well deserved. Um, Lost the first 2 games against ranked opponents, and now they're on a winning streak. And they're looking good. But I tell you this, should Notre Dame lose one more time, you must both forget about the Irish. And then you got Oregon and Iowa. Oregon versus Iowa that's happening. Oh, man. Does this get better and better? Yes, because that leads into my next prediction here. And what can I say? We got these games locked, and it comes on the right time. And I start off with Texas A&M and Missouri. What can I say more about this that it's going to go down to the wire? I do not think this is going to be a blowout. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to look at my notes quick because I find this game very, very, very interesting. And here's why. Texas A&M on the road to Missouri is going to be a problem. Since 2002, they've played 6 games in the month of November. And what are we in? I think this weekend is November 8th. So check this out. I can't make this up. Missouri's 5-1 against Texas A&M in the month of November since 2002. Yeah. And that one loss from Missouri was at College Station. And where's this game at? This game is at Missouri. Yes, I know. They are 5-0 against the Texas A&M at home. Yes. Yes. Okay. Couldn't this be a spoiler alert? Like, how many times have we watched college football, or if you have watched college football, and after the first initial rankings, it's a whole debacle. I mean, it's been like that since week 1 anyway with the AP. The AP polls, I mean, they had Penn State at number 2. They fall down. It seems like every number 2 team that's ranked there, they get gone. Like Penn State and Miami, right? And then everything else is like a domino effect. I believe this is a game that I can actually see Missouri beating Texas A&M. I really do. BYU versus Texas Tech. This is another upset because BYU is more of a defensive type of team versus a high offense explosion of Texas Tech. And I wouldn't be surprised if BYU squeeze out a victory and remain undefeated. And then you got Oregon versus Iowa. Very interesting because these 2 teams are neck to neck. Okay. And I want to pay attention more of the spread, but I guarantee that this game is going to be really, really close, especially that Iowa plays a great defense. Out of all these 3 games, if I was to pick a defense, the team that I will pick for defense is Iowa. But what comes natural, or what it comes like, I'm just like very excited of this because I love to compare, is that Oregon and Iowa share equally 4 different teams that they've played. They played Wisconsin, Rutgers. They both lost to Indiana, and they both beat Penn State in a very close game. Oregon went 2 overtimes versus Penn State, while Iowa went ahead and squeezed by 25-24. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm loving it. This is a game to watch, and this is not going to be a blowout, especially at Iowa. Guaranteed, Iowa should come close or even upset Oregon, and we could have a different conversation. Just saying. All right, Indiana's on the road against Penn State. I wish I could go for Penn State in this. I wish. Penn State has a 3-game win streak against Indiana, but the way things happen in Penn State, I cannot go against Indiana. I can't do it. I can't do it. I do believe Indiana could, like, I don't know, put an ass whooping into it. I don't know. I mean, they could win big, but I will be in shock if Penn State pulls out a victory here. I don't think it's going to happen. They're 0-5 in the Big Ten, and they're lost. On the other side, a game to really watch also is Auburn versus Vanderbilt. That is a game in which it's a must win for Vanderbilt. If they were to lose against Auburn, then I don't know. I would say like this season doesn't have any meaning because all the success they've done so far, I would hate for them to just lose it. I really do. Yep. So there you have it. These are the big games. These are the rankings. What do you say? What do you think? What do you think about these rankings? Do you feel like this is fair? Is it good top 25? For the most part, I think it is. I do believe that we're gonna see a clear picture as always when the weeks to come. Okay. Um, but I will be be close, especially the BYU game, because right now, um, BYU is the underdog versus Texas Tech, and Texas Tech is that favorite at 10.5. Yeah, I think that's too much. I really do. And by the end of the week, I do believe it's going to shrink. So you better watch out on that one. But other than that, it's going to be interesting to see how these games come out. Some of the other teams that I did not mention in the top rankings are playing against, uh, I don't know, they're playing a scrimmage, I guess, because I've never heard these teams before. But it is what it is. What's your take on it? Leave your comments below. Thank you for watching the All Four Dons podcast. It's college football at its greatest. And we'll tune in on Thursday when we go ahead with Hector and I joining and predicting the NFL picks. And man, I tell you, whew, I almost got shut out. But somebody else almost got a perfect week. You'll find out more. So tune in on Thursday. So thank you for watching, everyone. Take care. Let's enjoy the rest of this week, shall we? Oh, yeah. Happy election day.